everybody. Happy Wednesday. I don't even know what the numerical date is. I should probably look and check that out. It's October 27th. Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you're at home and you haven't left the house all day. You don't know what the date is. It's terrible. I know it's Wednesday. So I'm on top of my game there. How's everybody doing? There's so much to talk about today. I mean, really. I have a lot. Not sure we're going to get through all of it, but I'm going to make an honest attempt at it. It's good to see everybody, and thank you for being here. You're my sushi crew. I love it. I love it. Hi, Green Eyed PI. Hi, Emily, Lady D, Lexi S'mores. Aw. Oh, and Amelia Sparkles. It's good to see you. Yeah, I do have an update in the Pike County massacres for you today. I am going to start with just a little bit of humor, and then we will get into it because we just need to be able to laugh every once in a while. And I thought this was kind of a funny little thing, and it's tasteless. And I'll admit I laughed, and it's our fun true crime fact of the day.
Here's your true crime fact of the day. Did you know that pigs won't eat teeth? But gerbils will. Do with this what you will with this information.
So there you go. Pigs don't eat teeth, but gerbils will. Keep that in your back pocket. Hi, JJ51. Oh, no worry. No, it's hard for me. Is it no limit, Nunya? No worries on that. I appreciate you trying. I really appreciate you trying. Hi, Nancy Schmidt. I'm going to just start highlighting you guys. Hi, April. Mary Deathy Deals. PA Queen Bee. Is that how we're going to say it? It's hard to figure out with these names. All right. So I told you I'm going to start focusing on starting out the program with either Crime Line or Crimestoppers or whatever it's called in your area, but where the police ask for community help in solving crimes. I'm a huge advocate for crowdsourcing for true crime. So in the spirit of that, I was sent a story by one of our listeners, and this is going to be our first installment here. And I'm not sure if she wants to own up to this. I know she has a personal connection. If you do, I absolutely welcome you to take ownership in the chat. I can also go ahead and I'll do this. I'll hold on, puppy clipboard. I will put a link to StreamYard in the chat. So if anybody at any time, we're going to get all over the place talking about a lot of stuff. If you want to join in, that link is now in the chat for you to use. The only thing I ask is that you make sure you have your name up on the screen so I know who you are. And that's it. All right. So our first Crimestoppers case is going to be Beth Gordon. She was last seen March 29th of 2021. Her body was discovered in May of 2021 in a wooded area. Beth is a mother to 5 children. I don't know her exact circumstances, but she was homeless at the time. She was a very well-loved woman. She's desperately missed. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the video from Crimestoppers on her case. And let's get this started right now because her family desperately needs some answers. Here we go. Second here.
In Attention Crimestoppers, police need your help trying to piece together what happened to a woman who went missing in March and was found dead in May. Here's Greg Glover.
Death investigations are hardly ever cut and dry, and when the victim is homeless, the facts can be even more difficult to come by. We hope something you may remember about Elizabeth Jane Gordon will lead to resolution in her case. Up to $1,000 in Crimestoppers reward cash is waiting.
Beth was transient, and she's not from the Chattanooga area, so that makes it difficult whenever we are trying to investigate her death.
Chattanooga Police Sergeant Victor Miller is seeking information about Elizabeth Jane Gordon, known as Beth. An animal lover, she was also known for her pet rabbit.
Beth always had this rabbit with her. It was a white live bunny.
Though homeless, she was frequently in the Lookout Valley area, and sadly, that's where she was found in the spring.
That Beth was last seen at the McDonald's on March the 29th. Her body was discovered in the woods in May of 2021.
These are all important facts as police try to gather information on her life, which might shed light on her final days and to what happened to her.
Was she riding with someone? Was she in Chattanooga? Maybe you picked her up and took her out of town, or maybe she was out of town and you brought her back to Chattanooga. We would like to know those details.
Or if this face rings a bell, or perhaps you remember a woman in the Lookout Valley, Browns Ferry Road area who carried a rabbit.
Did she frequently go out to eat at a certain restaurant? Did she frequently go to a certain business that you know of? Call in so we can work with those people and those businesses to find out her last whereabouts.
Anything you may remember could lead to answers and lead you to reward cash.
If you saw her in that area, or maybe if you saw her in a homeless camp or at a friend or family member's house, call in, provide us that information, because we're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together to find out what caused her death.
If those pictures sparked a memory, anything you know, there's up to $1,000 reward cash waiting for your good tip. Call Crimestoppers. 698-3333 is the number. The line is open 24/7 and we'll never ask you for your name. David?
Okay, so that is her Crimestoppers story.
The director of that film ended up going to jail.
Whoops.
And 11 people were held
What
responsible.
is going on with that? I hate it when crazy stuff like that happens. Ashley Banfield, get your own show, girl. Quit popping in on mine. Okay, so that is Elizabeth Beth Gordon. Her body was discovered in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They need answers. She apparently carried around this little white bunny. I'm going to show you a clip from her mom in just a second. She is deeply loved. I don't know her circumstances. I don't know why she was homeless. But to me, it doesn't really matter. That doesn't make her less than. It unfortunately makes it a lot more difficult to kind of put pieces together because there's no home base, if you will. Let me grab this real quick and that is the wrong, it is the wrong tab. Let's do this. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out why I keep pulling up the wrong tab. Because it's not cool. Here we go. All right. So we're going to go ahead and play this next little clip. Like I said,
Now, her mother is in town hoping someone. The mother of a woman whose remains were found Is pleading for someone to come forward in the case. The death of Beth Gordon was featured on Crimestoppers last month. Now her mother is in town hoping someone will help her find closure. Our Michelle Herron spoke with her this morning.
A Chattanooga woman's remains were found here in this area of Tiftonia back in May. And now her mother is hoping someone will come forward with information about what happened to her.
Beth was an animal lover. She was a very sweet girl. She was very wanted. Beth was smart and had her dad's sense of humor, which was keen.
Vicki Wiley smiles as she describes her daughter, Beth Gordon. Wiley was supposed to be celebrating her daughter's 42nd birthday tomorrow, but instead, she's meeting with investigators to figure out how the mother of 5 died.
I wanted to speak some for her children, for me as her mother, to say that Beth was loved and that her children, what her children have said is, my mom was sweet and kind and loving, and she had nothing. She was non-confrontational, and they can't understand why this happened to her.
Beth's remains were found in some woods behind McDonald's in Tiftonia back in May. Investigators believe they may have been there for 2 months.
If you saw her in that area, or maybe if you saw her in a homeless camp or at a friend or family member's house, call in, provide us that information, because we're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together to find out what caused her death.
Just the fact that she was found in woods is something. Beth would have never been there. She did not put herself there, and somebody knows something.
The reward for information about what happened to Beth has now been increased. You can now get $2,000 by calling the Crimestoppers line at 698-3333. Reporting in Hamilton County, Michelle Herron, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Okay, so there you go. Elizabeth Jane Gordon. If you have any information, call 423-698-3333. I will be adding her story after this live to Twitter. My Twitter handle is @CrimeSushi, and I'll put it on my Facebook page. And if I can just ask you guys, if you use either one of those platforms, to please retweet it or share it, because this is how we get cases solved. It's obviously not going to bring Beth back, but her family deserves answers. She deserves, dignity in her death, and I think we can help with that. I don't have a lot of information. I see you guys asking some questions, so I'll go ahead and address that. Her victimology, was she very social, dating? She was apparently very social in the fact that she frequented a lot of these local businesses. Everybody knew her as the woman that carried around this little white rabbit. It was her it was her pet, her comfort animal. I'm not sure if she had mental health issues. I don't know those answers. I just know that she's loved. And if we can share her story, then maybe we can get the family some answers and the justice that Elizabeth Gordon deserves. All right, let's see. Was she visiting a homeless camp as a volunteer, or did she live there? This would greatly help determine her risk level. She was homeless, Lynn Levy. She was homeless. And she wasn't from that area where she was found in Chattanooga. She was most often seen in a place called Lookout Valley Creek. And she was last seen there on March 29th. And then her body is discovered in Chattanooga in May of 2021. So they don't know how she got from one place to another. If somebody gave her a ride, if somebody abducted her, or what have you. But she needs answers. And I think that, like I said, if we retweet it, if we share it, whatever we can do to get the word out, somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. No, I heard you. You're caught. You're not sneaking in. I heard you. I'm a mom. Oh my gosh. And you too, Lynn Levy. I heard you too. So we're going to kind of start each program trying to check in different places around the country. Maybe we can make it it takes 30 days to make a habit. Maybe we can make it a habit that hold me accountable to do this every day or every time I'm live. And then if I can graciously ask you to either share the Facebook post or retweet what I put on Twitter, this will help. It'll at least develop an algorithm where her name comes up and people start paying attention. So that is my request of you. Whoopsie. That's not what I was looking for. Oh, Allie, you're about an hour from Chattanooga and you've never heard of this. Well, good. Now you have. And it's hard. I don't know the circumstances, but like I said, this was sent to me. I didn't have to go out and look for this because it was actually handed to me by one of our listeners who has a personal connection. So even more important that somebody in our midst is looking for answers and they have a relationship to this case. Hello, sweet lizard Tia. Let's see. Oh, I'm glad you're here too. And by the way, thank you for the information you sent me the other night. That was really helpful, and I'm going to talk about that on another program. I'm working on that right now. So thank you. We used Trisha Griffith as our mail delivery system. Hey, Mel Mac, it's always good to see you. So I didn't miss you. I saw you from a mile away. Oh, Mom. Can't sneak by me. Just can't. All right. My Twitter handle is @CrimeSushi. Very simple. Oh, okay. Awesome. I know who you are. Thank you. So hard with all the Twitter names and then the screen names here. And then Facebook is generally who people are, but I can't keep them straight. I literally have this notebook, and when I find out who you are, I start linking all your stuff so that I can be, because I don't want to be like, oh, hi, it's really great to meet you, and then find out that I've been talking to you on Messenger for a year. And that makes me feel terrible. All right. So then let's see. What will we get into next? I'm going to share, let's see. Let's talk about Brian Laundrie. Because this is kind of the latest on Brian Laundrie. There's a couple things going on with this. So in this case, as you know, or maybe you don't, Brian Enton, who works for News Nation now, is currently in Moab. And he has been visiting the site where Gabby Petito's body was found. He's also asking questions about Kylen Schulte and Crystal Rogers. And he has some we can look at those tweets in a minute. He has some good coverage and some interesting perspectives on what's going on there. Actually, we're already here. So we'll do the story first and just make sure it's showing up on the screen. Okay, so this was published 5 hours ago. The source is Fox News. And the headline reads, Brian Laundrie remains. When to expect autopsy results from forensic anthropologist. So a forensic anthropologist analyzing Brian Laundrie's remains will likely have some answers regarding the deceased fugitive's manner, cause, and time of death in 2 to 3 weeks, according to Laundrie family attorney Steven Bertolino. The Florida District 12 medical examiner conducted an initial autopsy after authorities recovered Laundrie's remains on October 20th, but results came back inconclusive. The remains were then sent to a forensic anthropologist. So, good news. According to, if we can believe Steven Bertolino, who is the family attorney, we may have a manner and cause in 2 to 3 weeks. Let's be hopeful. Anything I hear about in this case now makes me doubt. I don't really trust or believe very much of what I hear anymore, but I'm trying to, still cover things, and I just share what, I find. Forensic anthropologists analyze human remains, conduct DNA tests, and look for any signs of weapon evidence to help determine how a person died. Whether the forensic anthropologists will be able to determine Laundrie's cause of death in 2 to 3 weeks remains unclear. And that is pretty much it. They're going to just give a recap towards the bottom of the article. I don't need to read that to you. We know that Chris and Roberta Laundrie have left their home. They went to a private home in Florida somewhere to grieve. So I don't know when they'll be back. We're kind of at a standstill in this case, really. And I think the dust is still settling for a lot of us. It's a lot to muddle through. And hopefully, because Brian is deceased, some of these things we don't know. I'm very, very hopeful. There's going to be nobody to prosecute for Gabby's death, in my opinion. So hopefully a lot of these things will now be in, the light will shine upon them, for lack of a better term. I don't see a reason to keep it secret anymore or keep it sealed anymore, because there seems to be no other suspects in the case. The only thing that would prevent some of that being released would be if they were going to prosecute Chris or Roberta Laundrie, and I don't think we're going to see that, at least anytime soon, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and share my Twitter screen here and show you. Let's see. So weird. I use Twitter on my phone so much that it's just different on the computer screen. So I'm not sure that it's going to transition and open to the right page. It may have to go back. That's okay. If I have to go back, then I have to go back. So just see what you guys are seeing. Yeah. Okay, good. That worked. Much rejoicing. Okay. So here are, and I know this is difficult to see. Maybe I can make it a little bit. Oopsie. No, that didn't work. Make it bigger here. No, that doesn't seem to be working. Oh, well. Okay, so I'm on Brian Enton's Twitter page. Maybe that helped a little bit. He has 3 consecutive tweets here. The first one reads, the mood of many in Moab is anxious and guarded. Many are apprehensive to talk about Gabby because they are overcome with fear and anxiety over the murder of Kylen Schultz and Crystal Turner. The killer is not in custody, and they don't know if it's someone who lives here. I did not fully realize until being here that while the cases are very different and law enforcement say not related, to the people here, it is all part of one devastating time period over the last several months. Murders are extremely unusual here, let alone a double murder. More on all of this Thursday night in our News Station Now special at 9 p.m. So that's going to be a big one. Thursday night is going to be a big one for true crime because he is spending a lot of time out there. He shows us some pictures. He's in the car with police going out to the crime scene. And then, let's see. So this is with Moab, Utah police going back to the location of Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito traffic stop. And then he also has, there's where they're parked. That if you guys remember, the van is like over here, and then the police cars are here, and people were kind of standing around back here. This is where, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. This is where, let me see something. No, it's like, oh, let me do that. That's where Brian asked if he could sit crisscross applesauce so he didn't get a sunburn because he's bald. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Thursday night, Brian Enton, News Nation Now, updating. Check out his Twitter because he's live, not live. He's constantly updating his activity there and asking a lot of questions about Kylen and Crystal, and that's really important. I don't think that story has gotten the attention that it deserves. It has been overshadowed by Brian and Gabby, so I'm looking forward to that coverage. On to the next, and this is about Kylen and Crystal, because there seems that there has been a little bit of an update here. And I'm going to go ahead and, whoopsie, hold on one second. Gotta go here and take myself out, and I'm going to play this clip for you.
We turn now to another mystery that caught the attention of people all over the country, partly because of its strange ties to the Gabby Petito case. 2 months ago, the bodies of a newlywed couple were found shot to death at a campsite in Utah. Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner were last seen at a bar in Moab, and days later were discovered dead. Tonight, a newly released affidavit for a search warrant details what investigators found on that campsite, including cell phone data in the area. According to investigators, a cell phone was found at the scene and is considered evidence, but it's unclear who that phone belongs to. And that could change things and open up this investigation. Private investigator Jason Jensen was so fascinated by this case that he wanted to get involved. He is helping the family and took on this case pro bono and with us tonight. Jason, I appreciate you coming back on. I want to start with that cell phone. Do you have any idea who it could belong to?
Thank you, Marnie. No, actually, I don't. Remember, when it's a police investigation and they're going through processing a crime scene, any evidence that they recover, they take into position and take it to the crime lab and disseminate to whatever resources they're going to use to determine what the evidentiary value is. So the cell phone would likely go to the Rocky Mountain forensics lab for the FBI for processing to determine, extract from that phone who they were in communication with, to identify who the carrier is and things like that, so they can reveal potentially whose phone that was. So if it wasn't one of the victims, by process of elimination, we would hope that that phone would be, the suspect that was responsible for their deaths.
Yeah, and answer a lot of big questions. Jason, I know you've read the affidavit. What stands out to you about what we've learned?
From the affidavit or overall?
Both.
Yeah, overall, I mean, what I sense is that law enforcement is doing a bang good job on trying to get to the bottom of this, because they're just turning over every stone possible to go through and identify cell phone towers. Pretty creative, and you have to be for a wilderness murder like this, because you don't have the advantage of going next door and getting Ring doorbell cameras or anything like that to identify a suspect or a vehicle belonging to that suspect. So they're being real creative and using whatever resources and whatever angle they can figure out.
Jason, the last time you and I spoke, you told me that you couldn't rule out a connection to Brian Laundrie with the deaths of Crystal and Kylen. Do you still feel that way?
He's still, unfortunately, on that list, even if my personal opinion is it's unlikely. And the reason why I have that opinion is, on the 14th, which is the date in question that I believe that these two were murdered, I can't imagine that Gabby Petito would be, present during a double murder like this. And so I just don't see it having an opportunity. Now, if they were separated and Brian did it alone, yes, but I just can't imagine someone sweet like Gabby Petito being involved in a double murder.
A lot of the circumstances, coincidental, police have ruled that out, but it still leaves a lot of questions, Jason, as you know. A couple of the investigative strategies that you are looking into, one is satellite imagery. What specifically are you hoping to gain from that?
Well, what we're really hoping to gain from satellite imagery is, since this camper that really gave Kylen and Crystal concern was camped so close to them and was giving them a problem, we're hoping that through satellite images of that area that we can identify at least the color of that person's vehicle, if not, if it's high enough resolution to get an aerial view of the make and model. So we're really hoping that, satellite images will help us identify, pinpoint a potential suspect, and aid in the process law enforcement to narrow down who they're after. But cell phone technology can do the job itself. So we're hoping that we're going to contribute something here, but it may not be necessary. But we do know from Skywatch, a private company, they've identified that they do have images available for us, and we're just in the process of trying to purchase them for the area and the time frame in question. We had asked for images between August 11th and the 15th, and they've come back with a positive response. So we're just hoping it's high enough resolution that would benefit us.
Some potential big leads in this case, finding out what happened to Crystal and Kylen. Private investigator Jason Jensen, thanks for the update. When you learn more, we'll bring you back on. Thank you.
Happy.
I'm coming back. Here I am. So that was from last night, but it is new information that we didn't have before. Two big takeaways from this is now we're going to have some cell phone data, or at least not me, but the cops will. It tells me that they're taking this very seriously. That gives me some peace of mind. I'm glad that News Nation now is really hyping. I don't want to say, I don't know if hyping is the right word, but letting this case get more traction, get it the attention it deserves. Because like I said earlier, I do believe it was overshadowed by Gabby and Brian. I think it's also interesting that this satellite imagery company can go back on those dates, and they have some photographs of the area, and that the private investigator is working with them to purchase those photos and hoping that they're high enough resolution where maybe they can get a make and model on the car or the camper that was parked eerily close to Crystal and Kylen, and they had expressed to other people their concerns about this creepy camping neighbor. So that gives me a lot of hope as well. So Thursday night, Brian Enton, News Nation Now, tune in. It's going to be good. It's always, I think it's important for us to see the actual spots where things happen so we have a visual. But I also feel like it's important for Brian to do it. And I love that he's out there doing it, because you just have a different idea about the situation if you've actually walked there or driven there, and the time differences between the two places, the routes taken, what the area is like demographically. All of those things really help immerse you into talking about a case. And that's, when I went to Northport, I'm not going to say I came back with a lot of groundbreaking footage or information, but this is what I did have. I had an idea of, I knew, because I drove it so many times, how close the Laundrie house was to the Mayakahatchee park. And then I knew, could see the gates and all that stuff. I knew how far the Venice side of the Carlton Reserve was from their house, where the police station is. I went to the grocery store where Gabby and Brian worked before they went on their trip when they were saving money. all of that stuff, the roads you drive, the scenery, different ways to get places, they all help you when you're trying to communicate a story. Even the weather is important. I mean, when I tell you there was flooding in Northport when I went there was flooding. It was insane. So I'm glad he's up there. He's a wonderful reporter and storyteller, but this is just going to add another dimension to his reporting, and I'm excited. Excited to see what comes out on Thursday night. So it's sushi roll call. What are you guys talking about down here? Oh, hello, weird mom. Is Miss Trisha in here, or was that Ping in disguise? I don't even know what you're talking about. You're crazy. All right, so I'm going to go on to this right here. Oh, let's talk about Pike County. Okay, let's do that first. So I'm not sure I have time, if you're not familiar with Pike County Massacre, to catch you up on everything, but it's an interesting story, and there's a wonderful podcast I can recommend for you to listen to that will get you there. I couldn't possibly do this story justice, and I'm not prepared to go through it today, but there was a court hearing today, and I'm going to share that with you. Just make sure that it's showing up on my screen and your screen so that we're all together. I think I have it queued up, and make sure it's in the right position. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then I will rejoin you when it's over. Give me 1 sec, if my computer will cooperate. It's always, please don't do this to me now. All right, hold on.
Here are 5 big reasons to buy a Toyota Corolla. But the number one reason, the great Toyota savings, like 2.9 financing for 60 months on a new 22 Corolla, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance. Toyota, let's go places.
Judge is considering a defense motion that would compel the prosecution to narrow the scope of their case.
Mike Shell's been following the Pike County murders since they happened in 2016, live in Waverly today.
So, Mike, the hearing today was delayed for over 2 hours. Do you have any idea why?
Well, Rob, we have seen these delays in every Wagner pre-trial hearing here in Pike County. Judge Randy Deering is very deliberate in these aggravated murder cases, and today he once again put off making a decision. Now, George Wagner IV in court today, he's still on track to go on trial despite plea agreements from his brother Jake and his mother Angela. Under Jake Wagner's agreement, the death penalty would no longer be on the table for him or his family as long as he agreed to testify against the family members at their trials. Now, 8 members of the Rodin family were shot and killed execution style in April of 2016. George Wagner's attorneys say the death specification is still on the books for their client, but the prosecution says it is still there in case Jake Wagner does not live up to his commitment to testify. Another motion has Wagner's attorneys asking the judge to force the prosecution to narrow the scope of their case. Now, there are more than 200 witnesses and thousands of pieces of evidence in this case. It's the most complex murder case in Ohio history. That is according to Mike DeWine, who was the attorney general at the time. Now, Judge Deering said that he would make his ruling on December 22nd. George Wagner IV is scheduled to go on trial next April. We are live in Pike County. Mike Shell, Fox 19 Now.
Okay, so there you go. So apparently the holdup now is that you have one family member who has come forward and taken responsibility in exchange for the death penalty being on the table. And as the other trials come up, the prosecutors are not willing to drop that death penalty until give me a second here. I'm terribly sorry. Whoa. there's something going on. Give me a second here. I may have to just close this out. That is going to stink to high heaven. Yeah, I am. All right. So I'm right here. Sorry, guys. So the prosecutors aren't going to take that charge off the table until they get what they want in exchange, and that trial date hasn't come up. So it's a mess. There's so many people being prosecuted. I'm going to go ahead and yeah, that was super scary loud music peeing. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for that podcast in the description after we're done. You should really go listen to it. And speaking of podcasts, just as long as we're here, if you're not listening to Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan, who is I would say a featured regular on Web Sleuth's YouTube Live with Trisha Griffith, you are missing out. He's done a couple of installments for Body Bags featuring the Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito case. Super interesting, touched on the Murdaugh murders. So that is the one to listen to too. So, oh, good. I'm seeing some love for Body Bags. Yay. So I'll put that link in there too. And the, yay, you guys, all this love for that podcast. Awesome. And you can listen to Body Bags on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, quite a few. So yeah, Joseph Scott Morgan, he's amazing. He has a gift for explaining things without talking down to people, but not dumbing down the information either. So that's a gift. I don't think you can learn to do that. And he is very gifted on top of everything else he does. Oh, okay. It's on Amazon too. Thanks, Berserker Loki. Thank you. Oh, Kathy Lynch. Brian Enton is on Twitter. And News Nation Now, it's just at Brian Enton, I believe. Let me take a look real quick and make sure. Because I don't want to just lie to you being like, I know this off the top of my head. Because I don't. Give me a second here. And yep, it's just at Brian Enton on Twitter. And then I watch, so here's the thing. We have DirecTV, and News Nation Now is supposed to be on DirecTV, but it's not. When I looked up the channel number for my area and everything, and then when I punch it into my TV, there's no channel. So I do watch it on an app that's free. It's just a News Nation Now app. So I have an iPhone, so I get it from the App Store. But I'm sure you can get it on Google Play and what have you, and you can watch everything there, and it's great. So, and they didn't ask me for a cable provider or anything like that either. So it's not like you have to, like, if you don't have cable, if you've cut that cord, which, God, before I even lived with Chris, years and years and years ago, I had cut the cord, but he just won't do it. I mean, he just won't. We use smart TVs and everything else, and we could be saving so much money every month, but nope, he just won't do it. I see a lot of Brian Enton lovers. Oh, Crispy Critter. I love your name every time I see it. So maybe you guys, such great names. Missy Richmond says, Joseph Scott Morgan's book, Blood Beneath My Feet, is good too. It was almost too detailed, though. That man has been through Hades with his job. Yep. Blood Beneath My Feet is a really good book. If you haven't read that, you need to. I love podcasts. I really do. I drive a lot because I'm taking the kids back and forth to school, and it's like 2 hours each way. So I listen to a lot of podcasts in the car. And it's funny too. My kids are at the age now where they like podcasts too. So we don't listen to anything like really too dark, but it's kind of nice because before it was like, can you play kids bop music? And I was like, no, because I don't want to fall into eternal depression. So we have to find something else to do. Oh, good, Lisha. You found Body Bags on Spotify. Good for you. Yay. Podcasts are free. It's just, it's like a little gift. I get so excited. I don't know what Brian did, Carla, before he did News Nation. I'm not sure. I'm guessing he was probably part of some network down in Miami, or there is a possibility that maybe he worked for Law and Crime Network. I don't know. We should look that up. Yeah. Well, we have, Connie, my wife, I'm like, it's because we have 50-50. Chris has 50-50 custody of his kids. So they're, at mommy's house and then at our house. And so she lives about an hour away from us. And then the kids go to 2 separate schools that are spread out. So that adds extra time. So you're going over there, 2 schools, 2 car pickup lines. And then by the time you get to the second school, it makes the drive back about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending. Well, it looks like I'm in good company because I see Missy Richmond says she's a podcast junkie too. And, okay, Kathy, you have News Nation on Hulu. I have Hulu. I didn't even check to look there. Okay, Ping, that's good to know. He's just advising us that if you're not in the United States, News Nation now and the WFLA app only work in the United States. So there you go. There you go. That's good to know too. So does that mean you don't? You just don't have access to any of those? You can't even watch them on YouTube or anything like that? I'm just wondering. Oh, Lori, you have your 5-year-old grandson now. You'll catch up later. You love the lives. Oh, yeah. Just tune in on the replay. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you listening. Yeah, it's different for different people. Florida's weird. Florida's weird. It is what it is. I'm just, we have a good amicable relationship in the moment, and I'm thankful for that. So, although I don't like spending, Fridays driving 5 hours, and Monday mornings and Tuesday mornings, it's okay. And, it is what it is. Yep. So that's why, like Amelia Sparkles, I can't live without podcasts. I just can't. Let's see. For Brian Enton, I'm going to take a wild guess that he doesn't speak Spanish like me. I am not sure, Robin. I'm not sure. I would imagine, well, I shouldn't say this, but a lot of people in Miami do. His cameraman that he works with is Latin, so I don't know, but I don't. Yeah, Luis, I'm not real sure. He might. He's pretty talented, so I don't know. What are you saying, Jesse? Some things are banned for those of us who don't live in the United States. It says this is available. Oh, it says this is not available due to copyright. Yeah, that's really weird. I never understand how that happens. But yeah, I can watch 60 Minutes Australia. It's like the rest of the world is so generous and we're just not. I don't know. Oh, Mary, you saw that? Yeah, I know some people were upset about that meme. I wasn't going to mention it, but since you brought it up, I'll address it. They lost a son. That meme was not to make fun of Roberta and Chris. It was directed at Northport and supposed to be lighthearted. And, I do laugh sometimes when we talk about true crime because it's just all too much. It's just, it weighs on you. I was talking to somebody on the phone this morning about something else, having to do with true crime and trying to work something out. But, she was saying she thought she needed to take a little social media break because, this is about a week ago, I think she said that. She needed a social media break during the Gabby Petito case because it was getting to be overwhelming. And then she was, kind of telling me today, like, I had a really hard time putting down my phone last week. And she's like, I kind of disconnected myself from people because I was just constantly watching updates. And I think that that takes a toll on you. Everything's so heavy. Things are moving quickly. You know, you think they're going to catch Brian and then he's dead. And, you know, then that means that you're never going to get the answers you wanted for Gabby. You know, there's no guarantee you're going to get them before anyway. Brian may have never had talked. He may have just drug that family through hell for years and years and years through the legal system. But, you know, it's just from our perspective, watching it and getting emotionally invested in it, it takes a toll on you. That's kind of what she was saying. But I would, you know, in relation to that, because I talk about it all the time, I have to laugh every once in a while. I do, or I wouldn't be able to do this. And I'm not great at it either sometimes. I will tell you that the children cases are very difficult. I know they're difficult for everybody, but if I never had to talk about them, that would make me very happy, because I have this weird thing that I do. I'll share it with you real quick, because I'm sure other people do this too. I mean, I can't imagine I'm the only person that does this. So when I hear about a crime that occurred and there's like a discovery, or there's some information about the events that led up to a death or whatever, I will close my eyes and I'll think about the pictures I've seen. So if I've seen the picture of a bedroom, or I've seen the picture of it happened in the kitchen, I've seen a picture of the home. I imagine myself sitting there and I put myself in the victim's body and I try to see, not in a psychic way. Okay. I don't, why do you think it's like that? Not in a psychic way. I just try to see and feel what the victim felt, because it gives me a different perspective when I talk about it. So for instance, I've always had a really hard time with the Gannon Stout case, because I imagine myself in their living room, which I've seen pictures of, or in his bedroom. And I know what Letitia looks like. And I imagine looking up at her and thinking, I don't have my mommy. I don't have my daddy. This person's supposed to take care of me. I've told people that she's a bad person. Nobody believes me. And she's hurting me, and how scared he must have been. And then I see, like right now, I'm tearing up. I'll have a complete breakdown. But I feel like for me, it's important because it keeps me from being desensitized. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not. But, oh, Mary H. Okay, so I'm not alone. Yeah. Yeah. It just, I feel like it, I don't know if it helps me see things in like 3D. I can't understand why I do it, but it definitely does keep me from being desensitized. That's probably the new thing. Oh, Donna Rice, thank you so much. She says, I love your commentary and research. New subscriber from Northern Ireland. Well, welcome, Donna. Thank you so much. That's the best thing you guys could do for me, is to hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a live, and give the video a thumbs up or thumbs down. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it when you guys reach out to me via email, which I'll put in the chat real quick. I do respond to every email that is sent. That is not how you spell Sushi. You would think I'd know how to spell my own name. On Twitter. No, guys, my hands today. It's because I never make coffee at home, and I did today, which means that I'm not limited to 1 cup, which is what I usually do. I drink a couple cups of coffee a week. I think I'm on my 4th in 5 hours. I'm like a kid left alone with their Halloween candy. So I'm having a little case of the, hyperactivity over here. But yeah, anyway, if you guys reach out to me on Twitter, on Facebook Messenger, on my email, I love it when you do. I like that personal connection. I like your feedback. I like the engagement. And I love it when you leave comments in the chat. And I try to respond to everybody. So I never want to lose that, because I don't have a definitive plan for the direction. I mean, we're always going to talk about true crime, right? But I don't have a definitive plan about what this channel's niche will be, you know, like what makes us special. And I say us because it's our channel. And I like your input on that. I mean, I have a couple ideas. I'm really solid on the Crimestoppers thing. I'm really solid on missing persons, but I don't want to do that all the time. And I don't know if we're going, you know, I just don't know what direction we'll go. I do know that we'll always check in on the cases that I'll take a line from John Douglas, the FBI profiler, the cases that haunt us. I'm constantly going to be checking in on Vallow Daybell case, constantly going to be checking in on Pike County once that starts rocking and rolling. Letitia Stalk, Barry Morphew, who my understanding now is that he is suing the court system or something ridiculous. If I turned on my camera right now, you'd see I have my head down and my hands on my temples. I can't even say his name without getting aggravated. That man is there's a lot of monsters around us, but that man is like their mothership. He's horrible. So, oh, you guys say such sweet things. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, we'll always check in. We'll always check in with those cases. Always check back with Brian Gabby. I don't know if we would call it resolution, but I'm hoping that we get a few more answers before this becomes something dusty and there's just nothing new. So, yeah, I mean, if you have ideas, you have story ideas, let's, shoot them my way or bring them up in the chat. We can talk about them here. So yeah. All right. So the last thing on my list for tonight, and is going to be a story that I did not share yesterday. It's funny. I got to talk about yesterday for a second. And so yesterday I ended my stream very abruptly. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but normally I work on my Mac. Okay. But I had some things compromised on my Mac, so it's being worked on. So I have a desktop computer too, and so I'm lucky. I mean, that didn't keep me from not doing what I need to do. And I've had this desktop for like, I don't know, a year and a half. And I discovered by accident recently that it's actually a touch screen. So, which is awesome. But here, I'll do it right now. So so when I touch the screen with my finger, now I can't do it because I'm on a Chrome tab. Hold on one second. I'll go ahead and bring this up. Then I'll go back to StreamYard and I'll show you. So like I could basically I don't need to use my mouse. So you don't need to see how you don't hear my mouse anymore. It's a touch screen. I had no idea. None. So yesterday I was leaning forward and I just was looking at where a button I needed to do to close out my thing was, so it was available to me. I touched end broadcast and it just did it. And I was like, what? This is a touch screen? That's crazy. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, you're laughing your butt off. No mouse noises. It's so crazy. Look how fast I can do this. I am so fast. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yep, it's a touch screen. So now, I remember 30 minutes ago when I said it takes 30 days to establish a habit. Now, one of my goals was to start using the camera all the time again, because I think that I'm getting better at the production of this and I don't need to fuss around and I won't be so distracted by the camera, which is what happens, especially because I'm ADD. The camera just distracts me. So let me take this off without my mouse. and I could remove this without my mouse because it's a touch screen, you guys. I've only had the computer for 18 months. Had no idea. But anyway, yeah. So one of my goals was to start, putting the camera on again. But now I feel like I've had a setback because I can't have the camera on because I literally have to sit on my hands so I don't touch anything because I got to point things out on the screen or whatever, and then I can't because if I touch it, it will happen. So I don't know. Does any of that make sense, or am I just totally rambling here? All right. So this is the last little thing for the day. This is an interesting story. This is from NBC News, and it's DNA leads to charges for couple in death of infant 30 years after body discovered. A private lab was able to recover genetic material from remains found in 1991, leading authorities to a married couple alleged to be the baby's parents. So this was posted yesterday, which was October 26, 2021 at 3:24 p.m. by, I'm going to try to say this person's name, Doha Madani. All right, so credit where credit is due. Authorities arrested a North Carolina couple last week in the death of an infant found in a trash can more than 3 decades ago. Scott Gordon Poole, 54, and Robin Lynn Byram, 51, have been charged with concealing the birth of a child, according to a Monday news release from the Nags Head Police Department. The couple, who are married, could face charges upon further investigation. Nags Head is a coastal town located in North Carolina's Outer Banks. Authorities found the remains of a baby in a trash can rack on the morning of April 4th, 1991, naming the child Baby Doe. Decomposition had accelerated to the point where the officers who responded to the scene were unable to determine the baby's sex. Nags Head Police Chief Bill Webster praised investigators for their work to ensure those responsible for the baby's death will be held accountable. The tragedy of this child's death and the manner in which his body was disposed of is compounded by the fact, until now, no one has been found responsible for this incredibly heartbreaking act, Webster said. I got to move this down, but I could do it with my finger. The tragedy of this child's death and the manner in which his body was disposed of is compounded by the fact that until now, no one has been found responsible for this incredibly heartbreaking act, Webster said. Detectives began a re-examination of the cold case in 2019, sending a rib bone for analysis at a lab in Woodlands, Texas, police said. Lab technicians were able to find DNA evidence on the bone and create a genealogical profile that led to Poole and Byram. Police then contacted the Alexander County Sheriff's Office in Taylorsville, where the couple was living, to assist in the investigation, according to the information released Tuesday from Alexander County Sheriff Chris Bowman. Both law enforcement departments worked with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation to conduct an operation to obtain DNA from the couple, which confirmed they were the infant's parents. A medical examiner autopsy determined that the child died by blunt force trauma to the face and asphyxiation, the Alexander County Sheriff's Office said. It's unclear how old the infant was at the time of death. Poole and Byram were arrested following the execution of a search warrant at their home Thursday. The couple was being held on a $250,000 bond each, and it is unclear if they have retained an attorney. North Carolina passed a safe surrender law, sometimes known as safe haven laws in other states, in 2001 to prevent the abandonment and possible death of newborn babies. The law allows parents to give their infants to someone such as a social worker or a healthcare provider within a week of birth without having to give their names. So I believe, let's just look. Yep, that is the end of that article. Stop sharing and close that out and go back to StreamYard. I did that all with my finger because I have a touch screen. But isn't that interesting? That 30 years later, this baby baby doe had been unidentified and someone was still looking for who left this baby, what happened to this baby, and why. And DNA from a rib bone that had been preserved was the key to identifying these two people. That is absolutely, I have to clap for that. And things are, it's getting harder and harder to get away with stuff. Really, this is, these people were, 51? They were 21 years old when this happened. And now this, they've lived for 30 years with this secret, probably thinking they got away with it and nobody cares. And then boom, one day you're picked up. There's a search warrant, everything. What are you guys saying? Maggie Marie says, my little sister just found a murder confession in an old desk she brought from a secondhand store. It has a news clipping too from the 50s. The guy says this other guy stabbed a woman when they covered it up with a car wreck. Ooh, that's interesting. Carla Golden says, first of all, Maggie Marie, if you get any more on that and you want to talk about it, I find that fascinating. Carla Golden, how does law enforcement conduct an obtain DNA operation? Gather their trash? I don't know. I mean, maybe they went to Starbucks and they pulled their cups out of the trash or something like that. I don't know. They were still married. Yes, they were still married. And I know there was another case like this, very similar to it. And the way that they tracked down those people was through Ancestry.com or 23andMe. I can't remember which one. It was one of those like websites, and they found familial DNA and then narrowed it down. Kresha says, or difficult research says, at True Crime Sushi, that would be hell to never find the remains. Agonizing. Yep. Well, I give the police so much. So, we've spent some time ripping on Northport Police. This police agency in Nags Head, North Carolina, I find it amazing that they never gave up on this baby doe. Like 30 years and somebody is still working on it. The Tide of Woodlands is Robin Lane, where the lab is that did the DNA testing. So yeah, I'm not sure, Connie, my one flipping life, but I know with another case that was sort of similar to this, it didn't involve a baby, but it involved an unsolved kind of cold case, and they did track down the perpetrators via familial DNA on something like 23andMe or Ancestry.com. But what I had started to say is that it's we're living in a world now where for 30 years these people lived their lives, and this baby could have been 29, 28, depending on how old it was, at this point. That baby could have been living its life, and if they're not psychopaths, in the back of their head, they had to always be wondering, like, is it gone? Is it over with? Or did we get away with this? And then one day, like I said, you're pulled in, there's a search warrant for your home, and now you're in custody, and they're talking about something that happened 30 years ago. And you also have to remember this is a baby. So like if it was a newborn or something and they were young, that could have been concealed. I mean, that baby didn't have friends. That baby might not have had grandparents that knew about him, that kind of situation. So I'm sure this came as a shock to this couple that 30 years later, they're being held accountable for this crime. And kudos to Nags Head for being on top of it. On the other hand, when we see people that are getting away with crimes right now, we have to We have to sit there and say, okay, there's ring cams, there's dash cams, there's Nest cams in homes. People are on the internet, people on social media, people have cell phones that track their geolocation. Our cars do. I mean, we saw that in Barry Morphew case. Your black box in your car, depending on the manufacturer, is telling you that at 3:18 yesterday you had your left turn signal on, that you used your windshield wiper fluid, and that you were heading to the Home Depot, but that you didn't park at the Home Depot right away. For some reason, you parked at McDonald's, but you weren't in the area of the drive-thru. I mean, it's crazy. How do people get away with crimes anymore? But they do. They do. And it's just super, super frustrating, and probably why I'm so fascinated with true crime, and then fascinated that 30 years goes by and someone's not forgotten about baby Doe. I don't know if they had other children, Beth C. I just picked up the story yesterday, and I'm definitely going to dig a little deeper on it because I'm super curious. Super curious. Let's see, what are we saying here? Connie, my one flipping knife. It's weird because I got contacted on Ancestry by a second cousin who had been given up for adoption by my cousin when she was a young teen in the 70s. There's a lot of that happens. Hold on, because I think Robin has a similar situation. She said, Amy, I'm getting weird vibes from the story. My brother, in quotes, found me last year, and he lives in Woodlands. My dad died on New Year's Eve 2020. He found me via 23andMe. Robin Lynn is her name. Oh, wow. Well, Robin, let's figure it out. You want to email me? Email me. And because I think you're having a moment right now, and that is a lot. Email me and let's figure this out. Or if you want everybody to help, we can do that too. You need to get that. You need to get that an answer to that. Lizard Tia says, at Robin Lane, strange connections for sure. Have you met him in person? I was 32 when I learned of my birth siblings, and I've met 3, but only stayed in contact with 1. I love her dearly. So, you guys, I have an interesting story. We don't talk about politics in here. Okay, so let's just not do that. Let's keep it a happy place. Okay? Not many rules, but we don't talk politics. So, a girl that I was still friends with, we went through elementary school together. My husband talks so loud, my goodness. She was adopted. I always knew she was adopted growing up. Her adoption story was talked about. She had, her parents had a biological child and then her. And she never really looked for her birth parents while her parents were living. And when her parents, and she will openly tell you that she didn't believe that her parents would have objected to it. She just didn't want to run that course of emotions. So after losing her parents, she set out on this journey. I think she's up to 11 brothers and sisters. It's like she started looking 2 years ago. She has siblings all over the place, and none of them knew about each other. And they're finding it out through 23andMe and the other DNA site that is escaping my mind. And then another woman that I'm friends with, both of her parents died, and she was on 23andMe. I forgot why. I think she was looking for how her family, or some other family that she didn't know about because she's an only child. That's what it was. She was an only child. And so she's looking for other family, and she puts her stuff on 23andMe, and she gets a hit. Oops. Hold on, this is real life. Hold on 1 second. Hey, I'm on a live stream. Can I call you back?
Oh yeah, I was just going to remind you of something that I forgot to tell you about. It's nothing urgent at all. It's just about money.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll call you as soon as I'm done. All right, bye. That was my sister. So she puts her stuff on 23andMe, and she gets this hit from this guy. And long story short, I guess her mother had an affair, and the father that she grew up with wasn't her biological dad. The man that raised her was not her biological dad. It's this other person, and it was like a big family secret. And now she's got a whole new set of families. So you see a lot of this happening with all of this being cataloged online. So, let's see. Robin Lane, are you okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. So, let's see. I'm sorry, I startled you. I meant to have my, I turned down the volume on my phone, but I didn't turn off the ringer. And here's why. Because I always use my phone and I have to say, Alexa, call my phone. But if the ringer's not on, I can't find it. So I have to leave the ringer on. I had Do Not Disturb, but my mom and my sister know how to override it. So they won't accept that I'm not answering my phone. Sometimes I love technology so much. I mean, like, think about what we're doing right here. It's so awesome. But the same way I hate it sometimes. It's like, I don't want to talk on the phone. Don't keep calling me and texting me and FaceTiming me. I don't mean that to you guys. Just like, man, if you're getting a Do Not Disturb, you have my husband's number. I'm not probably laying dead anywhere with a chalk line around me just because I didn't pick it up right away. It's weird. It's like I can't go to the bathroom. And I would refuse to do things like take my phone in there. That's gross. No judgment, but I just can't do it. So anyway, Robin, there's a lot of love for you down here. You're in a good place. So let's figure this out. Brewer, you're the same way. I can't turn off the ringer on my phone, or I could be up a creek real quick. I'd never be able to find my phone. I started to tell you guys about when I was talking about my touchscreen about yesterday. There was something freaky going on with my live stream. I listened to the replay yesterday. Not only did I end it prematurely, but as far as quality goes for a watch on a replay, it's terrible. The chat never loaded. It's a lot of buffering. A lot of staticky sounds. I think it had to do with the fact that I was trying to stream to Facebook at the same time. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'll always let Facebook people know, that I'm going to be on YouTube, but I'm not going to stream directly to Facebook unless it's something completely separate. But I'm not going to do the dual stream anymore because of that reason. It's horrible. So, all right, Robin, pop me an email. I'm so sorry to hear everything. I want to, help you and know that you're okay. And you can see you're having a lot of love and support here in the chat as well. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night. It will be late though. It will either be, I was going to say at 9 p.m. I had planned on going live at 9 p.m. tomorrow night. But because Brian Enton is doing his special on News Nation now, that'll be at the same time. So I can't do that. I'm in the Eastern time zone. And then Trisha Griffith goes on at 10:15. So I may pop on when Trisha's done. If I decide to do that, I'll let you know. But 9 would have been, tomorrow's one of my 14-hour days. 9 would have been the latest or the earliest I could do a live stream. So we'll just play it by ear tomorrow night, and I apologize. Friday night, I'll do a quick live stream, probably around the 9 o'clock time thing, and then definitely Saturday evening at 10:15. I do this thing with Trisha where I say, if you're not doing a show, I'll save your seat. I take her spot. So, as soon as we get all those logistics figured out, and then pretty soon we'll be on a regular schedule. So thank you, everybody that's here. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Can't survive without your support. And this is your channel too. Like I said, reach out to me. Let me know what's going on. Any ideas you have, if there's a particular story you want covered, let me know. I'll look into it. And if you have a personal connection to a case, or if there's a case in your area that's Crimestoppers or a missing person, send that to me and let's work together to get the word out. I mean, that's my goal. That's my goal for this channel, is proving again and again, like we saw in the Gabby Petito case, that crowdsourcing for true crime works. We could do it in a responsible way without going real life, and protecting the integrity of investigations, even if it's just to bring awareness. So, as always, thank you to my moderators. Thank you, Ping. Thank you, Tambra. Thank you, the Weird Mom. Thank you, Rain Dancer. Thank you, Jesse, Diane, Ryan. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. And at Webses as well. Catch Trisha Griffith's live stream tonight at 10:15 on Websless YouTube Live. And until next time, I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.